This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, so I just wanted to open up with maybe some challenges associated with well, before we get to the group work, because group work is always an anomaly for me. I wanted to talk about effective feedback, and I know how important feedback is. As our this week's material said, it guides our next action. But really, with this collaboration piece, I wanted to pick everyone's brains about how to make it efficient, because I know it's super important. I also know, at least with me, it's super time consuming. And I'll give an example. About 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I taught chemistry, and I had a chemistry class with 16 kids in it, which was really nice, right? So I could do these things like the one-on-one conference, and I loved that. I thought that was really effective. But now my class sizes aren't that size anymore. So I know the importance of feedback. I would just like your ideas on how to make it efficient and not as time consuming.
Well,
Well,
I know myself, I don't know. I teach second grade, so I do like feedback that's very fast. I will teach them a concept, or we'll talk about something and I'll say thumbs up or thumbs down so I can see who is understanding. And that's just an easy way to give a little bit of feedback. But then we are doing writing. They're really pushing writing this year. So they want us to give lots of feedback on their writing. So trying to conference with 18, 7, and 8-year-olds it takes a long time. So if anybody has anything, like you said, to make it go faster, because honestly, this is only my second year teaching, so I'm here to learn from you guys.
I like it. I like the thumbs up and the thumbs down. And those quick little formative feedbacks, or, we do that constantly, right? Throughout the day, all the time. And just by reading faces, a lot of times I can, give some feedback like, oh, you don't look like you get it, or do you have questions? But what about the rest of you?
That's a very good startup, because today I've been in multiple meetings. I had a faculty meeting today about feedback. And then after that, I had during my planning today, I had a meeting today, and they were talking about feedback as well to students, and about they saying to make sure you include in your feedback when you give back feedback, to include the standards, to address the standard in the feedback. And I teach high school as well, and my class sizes are not small as well. I'm 30 plus students, but I'm blocked. So I have 3 classes. So, in the past, I had like 6 classes with like 30 plus kids, like almost 40 kids in the class with 6 classes. So I feel like, I'm doing a little bit better now. That's kind of a tough question, because, I try to, honestly, I try to go as fast as I can, because I teach social studies. This year I'm doing government, and I have my students do writing pieces, and I'm just being honest. We use, Canvas. And so like they do the writing piece like in Canvas. And so they have, and I'm not sure, are you familiar with Canvas?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, they do their writing in Canvas. And so I type up like the comment box, and I type up and give them like, messages individualized, but it's time consuming. And I myself I individualize those messages, and I myself, like, I try to go as fast as I can. Don't know. I really don't know how to shorten that down when it comes to those writing pieces. But yeah, like when you do that individual kind of like, and I do like, thumbs up, thumbs down. I do use that. I do that as well, just kind of a quick thing. But still, because my school pushed the whole writing, they're really pushing our kids to, of course, reading, right? Because my school, we kind of have that deficit there. But needless to say, I don't really know how to shorten that down.
It's interesting you said the thing about Canvas, because the comments is brilliant. And I remember before Canvas, you know, the actual paper, I would write, it would take so much time, but they loved
Sticky
it to
notes.
write comments. Ooh, sticky notes is really good. But comments in Canvas, I'll spend so much time loading that up and the kids will say, I didn't know that was there. But yeah, it's a brilliant tool. Yeah, the sticky notes is a good
I make
idea.
sure I tell my kids if I'm going to sit there and write them comments. Oh, I make my kids go in there. You better look at those comments. Like, are we taking the time out and you're going to look at that feedback? You're about to read that. I'm sorry. If I'm going to sit there during my planning period and off the time, off the clock, and I'm up there typing up those comments, oh, you're about to read that.
So who just said the thing about sticky notes, post-it notes? Because that was part of in the material this week as well.
Yeah, so I use I'm in first grade, so I use several things. We do a 4-corner type thing, and once they choose that, I give them an option. And once they choose their option, certain ones that I know that they got the answer wrong, I ask, well, why did you choose this corner? So we talk about that corner, we talk about it, and I give them some feedback, give them a chance to think about it again before I reveal the actual, correct answer. And as far as the sticky note thing, before Canvas, because first grade, it's hard for them to get on Canvas and do that type of assignments. So when they turn in their assignments, their paper assignments, I do a sticky note, write a little sticky note on there, saying I give one positive and then a couple of, things that they can work on. And that way the kids, even though, someone's still learning to read, I read it to them and we talk about it that way. But it is very hard when it comes to the writing, because you have to read their writing and give their feedback, and sometimes they understand the feedback and sometimes they don't. So I guess that's where the effectiveness come in at. So I'm still working on that, still new to it. So because the county is pushing for writing and giving feedback, and they want the feedback to be private, because they don't want other students to read the feedback, which I feel all students should kind of hear the feedback because they can learn from it. So
Sure.
That's what I do, sticky notes, and then sometimes I let them write how do they feel about the assignment? How do you think you did the assignment? What did you like about the assignment? What you didn't like about the assignment? And they give me a one sentence. And that's how we do our feedback.
That's interesting. So you said that at your school, they don't want the feedback posted, like shared, like.
Yeah, like share, like how we used to you could put the grade on the assignment and then your comment and post it on the wall outside on the bulletin board. Now so put the score on the back of the paper. Put just give the sticky note to them, let them read it. And they more so want you to just do a rubric and just circle a 3, 2, 1, but not the necessary grade per se, because it's a privacy thing now.
Yeah, FERPA. Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I love the sticky note. I use that all the time. I'm in kindergarten, and I also do thumbs up, thumbs down. I like turn and talks for them to be able to give feedback with their peers. And I also do exit tickets, which exit tickets are kind of iffy with writing and reading, but I love doing them for math. And I actually take them up each day. And then at the end of the week, I plan my small groups based on that. And then that's kind of when I'm able to give them feedback about what their exit tickets look like, how they did. And then we can actually are able to turn and talk peer feedback again. And then I'm also able to give them feedback. And I really just use it for math. I haven't been able to figure out a way to do that for reading or writing yet. But it's really nice too, because I have a para in my room. So we can both kind of pull groups based off of their exit tickets and give them feedback and what they need, what they did great on. So
yeah, the tickets out the door are really powerful. I like how you said at the end of the week, because it's a nice little cap or summary of the week. So at the end of the week, we have Friday fun question sets, and it basically is going over everything that we covered on the week, and I'll grade it over the weekend. Canvas grades it on the weekend. And then on Monday, we'll come back and I'll say, well, this is what I found. And so we'll use it as a discussion piece, as a briefing for class discussion. So it's feedback that's talked about by the whole class.
Yeah.
So there was something else I wanted to get your take on under the 20 ways to give good feedback. And I am super interested about this. This right here, it says to be sensitive to individual needs of the student. And I know it did say to always start with positive, which I think we kind of inherently do that anyway. But I did want to hear some people's responses, because I am curious about being sensitive to individual needs of the students in terms of feedback.
I feel like certain students, if you talk to them a certain way, they're going to shut down and they're not going to even hear what you have to say. So once you get to know your students, because I know you guys, that's what they tell us, you have to have a relationship with your student. You need to know about what's going on at home. And once you know them, then you can know how to talk to them and what to say to them to get them to open up and to get them to understand. You're not in trouble for doing this wrong. I want to help you. Let's talk about what you could have done differently. So that would be my take.
That's what I mean. I obviously always start with a positive too, but I agree. Going off of that, how they respond best to. I actually sent a form home at the beginning of the year, and it's asked the parents like what your child responds best to, like whether it's candy or whatever it may be, like the positive reinforcement. And so I actually like memorize that. And so I know which kid wants whatever whenever they're getting feedback, just so they don't shut down. And so I'm able to like make them the best that they can. And because most of them do, especially with younger grades, if you talk to them a certain way or even look at them in a certain way, they don't want to work and they don't respond well to it. So it really is just knowing the kid and knowing how they're going to respond best to. But yeah, I feel like positive reinforcement at the beginning is always the best way to go. Like, oh, you put a period. Great job. Now let's look at it a little bit more.
That happens in high school also.
Yeah, and I agree. And I also start off with the positive, but absolutely.
Yes.
And I always start off with the positive, and believe it or not, I always end with the positive as well.
Oh, you sandwich it. I like it.
I start with the positive and I end with the positive. The end, I go and do, I tell what needs to be adjusted, but then I end it with the positive. So I
like that. So it's like a sandwich technique.
Yeah.
You start with positive improvement and then positive.
Yes, I like that.
So by the time when you're done, you're left with positive. So I start with a positive, I end with a positive. So,
what she said about how to talk to different students, we know as high school teachers, you can talk to one student one way, but not talk to a different student in the same way. And also even looking at them, it's amazing how it applies to all age groups.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So I did the group work. I love group work. I really do. Primarily, if I'm going to be honest, because it reduces my grading. But there was one question on here that says, why do you think teachers often avoid grading group work? And what are some challenges associated with assessing group work? I can tell you last year, we had group work and a girl was gone for her sister's graduation, was gone a week. I don't know what graduation takes a week, but she came back and I said, you need to do that assignment, because her group member said she didn't do it. She wasn't here. So the girl got very, very, very upset and actually went to the administrator. So that would be one of the challenges. When the kids are not there, the kids do not contribute, then the teacher is kind of left with how to divvy that up and address that.
Right.
And That's what I was going to say about that. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, and also because I'm a special education teacher in high school, and the middle of group work can be very challenging, especially when they're grouped with students that are on different academic levels. Sorry, I'm so but they I've had a situation where a student was not able to keep up with the rest of the group, and I'd have to try and regroup them, or I would have to find a way to pull students that were on the same level or working at the same pace, and then I would have to go over the work with them and do the group separately. And that's kind of hard to catch if you know, you're not really aware of how they work in a group setting and all that. And it's difficult in the talk class, especially in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't think about the challenges that would come about from the different ability level, but yeah, absolutely, it's there.
And just yeah, and I sometimes with group work, making sure everybody is doing, and I think we had an assignment on that group work, and everyone doing their fair share, holding everyone accountable, and sometimes giving that feedback. I think I know myself, sometimes I'm a little bit hesitant about group work because I sometimes see certain ones I know are strong students, I'm gonna say, and I know they're going to, and they care a lot about their grade, and they're going to make sure the work is done. And so I have to just really have to monitor and make sure that roles are truly given and everybody's doing their fair share. Because if not, it's going to end up being like one or two people doing the work. So
right, the workhorses is what I call them, the workhorses. And I have actually put on the rubric, how was it worded? It was something like contributions, where the contributions, did everyone contribute, something like that? Was everyone on task? Was everyone participating? But then I've never had anyone say this to me, but then you could always argue, well, that's not a state standard. Why is it on the rubric? Yeah. But I feel like with group work, it has to be, for it to be a productive product from the group.
I don't know if y'all remember one of the videos we watched. It had a different job for each person that was in the group. So they all had something that they had to do to contribute, and then they all had to work together on one of the things that was in the group. So everybody had something to do. They could be graded on what they were doing, and then you could grade them as a group for the final product. I can't remember which video that was. So, I mean, it's hard
remember that.
Yeah.
Each
it's hard for me
member
to do
has a
groups.
role.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Each group member has a role. I remember that. I've never utilized that, actually.
I don't know. In second grade, I do partners. It's really hard to do a group. I really need to start implementing that. I've been really bad about it. And when I do partners, I give them cute little cards. They have to find their partner. They don't get to pick their partner. So there's like salt and pepper, peanut butter and jelly, cereal and milk. So everybody gets a turn to work with all the different people of abilities, and nobody gets to work with the same person. So,
well, to be clear, when they work in pairs, sometimes 3 people, but when they're working in pairs, I still call that group work.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But
I was just sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just about to say that I just recently had my students do a project, and they were working, and I assigned them different, like each group had roles, right? And I had this one group where each one had their roles, but I had this student, and he's a high achiever, that still wanted to take on the roles, like all the roles. And it's like, you have to do your role. And then, you know, still like some of the folks in the group was like, dude, yeah, take it right on. Like you could take
Of
the
course
role,
they were.
take
Do
it
it
on.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do it all. You know, so it's still like I know the video says, you know, assign the roles, but you still have, that's still kind of tricky. You still have to really, really monitor group work.
Isn't that
Yeah.
funny? I never thought about, you know, I think the roles are brilliant, but I never thought about that alpha dog taking over everything, right? But I'm sure it happens.
But he's one that I want to be the top in my class. So
Yeah.
it's my grade. So that's what he's thinking is my grade. And you're not that to, even though I'm saying like, you know, I'm judging off of your role, like whatever, but at the end of the day, he's like, it's my project, it's my grade. So I'm still thinking, you know, that's
Yeah.
just his work, his pride. So like it's his project.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I'm done.
Well, we don't do much group work. We do partner work, which, yes, I guess that could be considered group work, kindergarten. But I have partner A, partner B, and partner A has a specific job, partner B has a specific job. But I even know upper grade teachers that actually you have to, part of their grade on the rubric is they have to grade how their group members participated on the feedback form. So I haven't been able to do that in kindergarten, but I feel like that is also a good way just to get feedback from the kids of how your group did everybody participate, did everybody pull their weight, you know, because even though you do assign them a role, sometimes, like you said, the workhorse wants to take it all over.
So there is a teacher that does something like that through Canvas, and she actually gives them like a survey and says, so it goes out to the individual students and it says, did everyone in your group participate? If not, you need to go ahead and tell me who. And I thought, wow, if that's not opening a can of worms, then I don't know what is. And I thought, I don't want to do that. But that is one way, I suppose. And it's analogous to what you just shared, Emily. So,
Oh, wow.
I did want to loop around to the very first question. I guess this was kind of backwards. I just jumped right into the center, but there was a starter question that said, what are your views on feedback and how it impacts and drives instruction in the classroom? So I've been doing this a long time, and it used to be where we taught the material, we tested, and then we moved on, right? And so now it's really focusing on the feedback. And my principal says these continuous formative assessments, even summative assessments, he calls them pulse checks, and I really like that. And in the material this week, it says that it guides the next action. And I like the way that that's really shapes at least my art of teaching. So it's not test it, then move on. It actually makes me reflect and then adapt, for lack of a better word.
I think that's really good because these, especially I'm in high school, so these students are heavily reliant on instant gratification, especially with their phones and everything. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. But they need to know how they're doing at like every step of the way. It's not, if you're just testing, you know, teaching, then testing, then moving on, and they just kind of get distracted and not really, like, they lose their focus or their engagement, and then they don't really want to do as much work, or especially if they were working hard in the beginning, they're discouraged because they're not getting that instant gratification that, you know, that they crave, really.
I agree. Like those pulse checks, and it guides them on.
Just to butt in real quick, I just got a little notification that the Zoom was going to end in 8 minutes because I am not upgraded to a premium plan. So just to let y'all know, we have 8 minutes left.
Okay.
Well, I listed a bunch of stuff that I wanted to say. I think I said everything. Again, my biggest thing is I love feedback. I love how it's shaping my art of teaching. If I could just hone in on giving it in a timely manner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely definitely a challenge. For me, it's really the writing piece, which my school is really big on DBQs.
What's that? What does that stand for?
Document-based questions.
Okay.
So basically essays. So just think essays, but you're looking at documents, and you're using documents, primary sources, basically to support your essay. So needless to say, it's long, and I have I have what probably about 90 students with my block, probably roughly about 90 students. That might be, I'm something like that. So to get through all of it in a timely manner, it's tough.
Well, and I will go
just kind of read it and try to really truly give feedback in a because they're saying that you should give the feedback within like a day or two, and that's hard.
Well, I will tell you, my husband is an educator also. We've been doing this almost 3 decades, and there's something we call spot checking. So we pick a spot and we check it, and that's what we hone in on, because to think that, you would read and really assess 90 something essays. So spot checking is really useful. And with me, I overdo everything, as you can probably tell. So when I try to spot check, I kind of go out, but I think spot checking is also really useful because you check one thing or two things, and then you can give the feedback in a timely manner because you're not grading everything.
I like that. For my kids, because it's second grade, I'm really looking for capital letters, punctuation, making sure that their sentences make sense. And right now we're talking about revising. So we're talking about how can we make our sentence better? Can we use adjectives? What can we do to add to the sentence just to make it better? So, but when you're reading 18 kids, which I only have 18, some of you have like 30 something, I couldn't imagine. Oh my Lord. But that's what I really am focusing on right now, because some of them are still learning to read in second grade. And so it's even hard for them to write a complete sentence right now.
Well, that does sound like a form of spot checking.
Yeah.
What you just described.
Yep, that's what I look for.
So, Emily, are we almost out of time? What's the time
4
left?
minutes.
4 minutes.
And I'll go off by saying this. I think obviously feedback is very important. I love getting it from the kids, giving it to the kids, and their peer feedback. I think my biggest thing is just making it intentional, because I love to just sit there and say, oh, great job on your writing, but I really need to focus on, no, great job on your finger spaces on your writing, and then going off of that, but we need to still add our periods or our punctuation. So my plan going forward is just making my feedback more intentional for the kids, so they know exactly where my mind's at and where they need to go forward with it. So
yeah, intentional, specific, and in a timely manner.
Yes.
Can be our dream.
Right.
Yeah. And I did, like in the article that I read.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say in the article I read that I did like that. I do want to input and start doing what did I do well, the questions at the end, what did I do well, and what I need to do to get better. So that's one of the things that I do want to implement with the kids. As far as giving good feedback.
Yeah, and I was going to say that we try to do what we just call like a mastery minute. And I know how you guys talked about the ticket out the door and all that. If we're doing either a ticket, I guess what do you call them? The ones you do at the beginning, like a
ticket in the door.
Yeah, ticket in the door. But if we do a ticket in the door and we'll do like, I guess what you would call a spot check, or just make sure that they're able to understand something, like if they get a Punnett square correct or not. if the ones that are struggling with it, we'll just go like to the back of the classroom for our mastery minute to try and make sure that they understand that before they can join the rest of the agenda, what the rest of the class is working on for that day, just to try and make sure that they're understanding it.
Good
I
idea.
like that.
I like that.
I like that.
Idea. Let me write it down.
Well, I
Mastery
enjoyed
minute?
talking. I know we're about to run out of time. I enjoyed meeting you, all of you guys.
Yes, this
You
was
too.
great.
Thank you.
I think
Thanks
it was
for
a good
putting up with my
collaboration.
craziness.
So Emily, you'll upload it for us.
Yes, I will.
All right. Well, thank you
Thank
for setting
you.
everything up and doing that
Thank
for us.
you guys.
Yes, no
you.
problem. Hope y'all have a good rest of your week.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
Bye, you guys.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.